So hey y'all, this week is Thanksgiving. Yeah, you know what that means? Turkey, yeah.
Pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin pie,
Stuffing.
football,
Yeah.
Carl Ann's saying gratitude? Gratitude? Is Thanksgiving maybe about gratitude, even just a little bit? Yeah, it could be. And it's, perfectly reasonable and natural that we forget the purpose of the holiday that we're having. Christmas is about the birth of that Christ consciousness, but it's, of course, much more about buying presents for people and getting together for a goose or a ham or whatever that happens to be. Thanksgiving is about the opportunity to get back together and connect in gratitude for the family, for the people, for the opportunity, for the 4-day weekend, for whatever it is we're going to be grateful for. The talk today is Attitude of Gratitude, and that comes from my friend Sam Brown, practitioner at the center where I first did my practicing, because he had one of those Philadelphia accents, and he actually just said attitude. And he's one of those people who just, that was the way he pronounced the word attitude. But then it was an attitude of gratitude, and it was almost comical, except just a reminder that we get to embody that attitude of gratitude in what we're doing. And so I go to Scripture. In 1 Thessalonians, it says, "In all things give thanks." In all things give thanks? What do you mean, in all things give thanks? Illness? Death? Come on, in all things give thanks. There's poverty and bankruptcy. There's people going through challenges. There's loneliness and divorce. There's struggle. There's difficulty. There's challenges. Injustice and victimization of the world. What do you mean in all things give thanks? Well, it doesn't say for all things give thanks. It says in all things give thanks. And the idea there is that we want to be able to bring our thankful attitude, our attitude of gratitude to the circumstance and the situation. And why would we do that if we're dealing with one of those challenges? Raise your hand if you've been dealing with a challenge in the last, day, year, or month. Yeah, we all have challenges. We all have challenges. And it's very possible in all of those circumstances, in all those situations, to say, I got nothing to be grateful for. And yet, as it said in the reading, 86,000 seconds a day. The next one is getting queued up now. There is a new possibility. The number I usually use is the minutes, 1,440 minutes a day. Because if something right this minute is not going the way that I want it to be going, there's another minute on the way. And there's the possibility for it to get better. We're teaching the roots of New Thought class, and we've been reading some Thomas Troward. I love Troward. He was the first one who said that principle is not bound by precedent. And principle is that divine creative process that creates everything. It is the infinite sharing itself, its substance and its energy as its creation. So in Genesis, it's in the beginning there was darkness and void and God. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. The law, the principle, responded to that intention, let there be light. The next line, there was light. And the same process continues to go along. And it's a principle because it works for everybody. It always works. It works for the people who are intending high-minded, wonderful things. It works for people who are doing dastardly and underhanded things. Darn it. Not usually quite as well or quite as long because there's a vortex that they get sucked into. But it works. It's a principle. It works for everybody. And we say that the principle is not bound by precedent. What that means is that just because something's happened a particular way up until now, in however many minutes there have been in this day or in our lifetime, the principle is still working, and it's able to create something new and different in the next moment. Things can get better. And better is subjective, because I might be, oh no, I lost my talk.
It'll get better.
It'll get better. There we go. It gets better. Because I might be talking to somebody who's having an experience in his or her life, and they really want to have a different experience, and I'd be thinking to myself, either I would never want to have the experience that they're intending that they want to have, or on the other hand, I'd be perfectly happy to be in the situation that they're in right now. So what are they whining and complaining about? And the fact of the matter is, it's individual. It's up to each of us. Whatever good, whatever we're inviting into our lives, it's up to each of us. And that it gets better part, the principle is not bound by precedent. When we're talking about New Thought principle, that's what we call the pivot. That's what we call the pivot. And it's Robert D. McDonald's 4 questions. The first one is, are you happy with the circumstances of your life? Are you happy with the way your life is going now? And if the answer to question number 1 is yes, then you're done. There's nothing to change. The only thing that you want to do is maintain an attitude of gratitude to allow that good to continue to fill you up and to flow, and for that next step to be as wonderful as the steps leading up to it have been. And maintaining that lubrication winds up being very helpful. The second question is, if you're not happy with the circumstances of your life up until now, what do you want to have instead? So I can be looking over here talking about all the crappy things that are going on in my life, and that's what's wrong with him, and this is what's wrong with my job, and my boss, and my money, and my da-da-da-da-da-da. And I can complain about that forever and forever and forever. And as long as that's what I'm focused on, that's what my world's about. That's what I'm going to be dealing with, that circumstance up until now. And then as soon as I'm ready to do something different, I can pivot. What do I want to have instead? And that's not an easy question. Well, it's an easy question, it's just not always an easy answer. What do I want to have instead? Because that really makes us think. What do I want to have instead? What am I willing to give up in order to have that new experience? Because the thing that we have to give up is talking about the stuff that we don't like. We have to give up the bitching and the griping and the victimization and the less than and all of the other things that in some ways are very limiting to us, but in other ways are very comfortable. If I've been told all my life that I'm not worthwhile or lovable or important, or I'm never going to make something in my life, and I continue to believe that, then first of all, that's going to be the experience of my life. And second of all, I get to blame all those people who told me that because it's their fault. As soon as I'm ready to give that up, I get to give up the blame, I get to give up the judgment, and also all of that limitation as I turn to something new and invite that newness into my life. Oh, and that creative law that's always creating, it's always saying yes. It's saying yes that we can continue having what we don't want, and it's always ready to say, yep, principle is not bound by precedent, we can have a pivot, and immediately, like in the order of minutes or seconds, start having a different experience in our life. The other thing that gratitude is really wonderful for is when we get that input that's coming in from the world around us about people who are misbehaving or things that don't work the way we like, or unfairness or injustice or evil or anger, we get to say, thank God that's not me. I am so grateful that somebody else is willing to be that jerk so that I don't have to. Because in a universe where anything is possible, then somebody's got to do that stuff. Somebody's got to bear the burden of being the guy who cuts you off in traffic. And maybe they get to give that up eventually. Or not. Or not. The other thing about gratitude, it's one of the steps in a practical process. It's the second to last step before we let the whole thing go and turn it over to the universe. We have gratitude. And we have gratitude for a bunch of different reasons. First of all, we're setting an intention to invite something new into our lives. And the setting of that intention in partnership with that infinite creative power, that's where it starts happening. That good is starting to unfold in our lives immediately. So if I'm starting to get this gift, and it's already underway, it would be perfectly natural for me to feel gratitude, for me to go into a feeling of thanks for this good that's might not have shown up. You know, I might still be standing in the swamp with the alligators around, but I know that there's something better that's on its way now. The other thing about gratitude is that that's the step in the prayer that you can feel. So let's do a brief exercise right now. I invite you to close your eyes. If you're driving, then don't close your eyes. Be safe. Take a deep breath. Breathe it out and let yourself become completely present, right where you are. Feel the way that your seat is supporting you, and continue breathing whatever pace is comfortable for you. Feel the way that your seat is supporting you. Feel your presence in this place now. And then bring to mind some situation, circumstance, or perhaps it's a person which made you feel grateful. Some experience of thankfulness that you can recall that will help you bring up the feeling of gratitude. It's not about the memory that's so important. It's about keying that feeling of thankfulness. Feel that feeling. Take a deep breath and let it amplify 10 times stronger. Become a felt reality. Where do you feel gratitude in your body? Some people feel it in their heart. For others, it's in our gut, solar plexus. Some people, it catches us in the throat. Makes us tear up. Feel where you feel gratitude. Another deep breath. And bring yourself back into the room. You didn't actually have anything specific to be grateful for in that moment. That was a memory that you brought up, but you still felt it. We all felt that feeling of gratitude. And that is how, in all things, we give thanks. We can have that attitude of gratitude, that grateful expectancy as we're going into a new situation or a new circumstance. We can do it with gratitude, knowing that our good is on its way, knowing that the pieces are fitting together better than we thought they possibly could. As good as we can imagine and even better. Because it's an infinite creative power. That principle is not limited by anything other than what we believe is possible of it. So we can swing for the fences, we can invite something wonderful, and be grateful for that good, be grateful for the awareness of the process as we're going about it. Joe, do you have my red letter Bible? It's around here someplace. Thank you. I have a red letter Bible, and what that means is that in some of the pages, I don't know if you can see this, some of the pages, some of the words are in red, and those are the ones that Jesus supposedly said. The scholars are still describing and discussing which ones they are, and they keep on changing just a little bits at a time. But I love the red letter Bible because the red words are really, to me, very, very powerful. And there's a thing in there in Mark 11:24. And this is something else that Thomas Troward pointed out in one of his lectures. Whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it shall be yours. And I'm going to tell you what's important about that. Whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it shall be yours. And the key thing there is the tense. Believe that you have received it. Believe that it is already given, and then it shall be yours. So if we believe past tense, then our experience changes future tense. And that's Jesus reminding us of gratitude. That good is already on its way. That gift is already given. Whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it shall be yours. And that's an attitude of gratitude. In all things, give thanks. So as you go about your week this week, having Thanksgiving, you can get involved and completely wrapped around the axle about the fact that you're going to have to put up Christmas decorations on your lawn when it's cold on Friday. Or don't worry about it. You can think about having to rake the leaves before company comes over for the visit. Or don't worry about it. You can get all bent out of shape about how things are going to come together and who's going to sit at the kids' table. Or not. Or you can do all of those things and still maintain that attitude of gratitude. You know how to do it now. Bring up that feeling. You know where it feels in your body, how it feels in your body to be feeling that feeling of thankfulness. And that's always available to you. So, 1,440 minutes, 86,000 seconds, however many it is that you've got, put as many of those as you care to towards investing in your joy, in your glee, in your uplift, in those things for which you are grateful. Invite in something fabulous. I mean, as good as you could have imagined previously, and then even better, fabulous. You know, your great idea, your great experience, your great next thing, but with pom-poms. And a cheer, because you can. Because the universe is cheering you on. The principle is always working. And you deserve it. You deserve something fabulous. So it is.